Flat satin stitches can look beautiful, but sometimes you want more drama, more height, and more wow. Today I'm going to reveal the mystery behind creating a bold raised satin effect that'll make your embroidery stand out instantly. Now, if you're new to digitizing or want to understand why this works, I've put together a free Digitizing 101 course just for you. It covers the core theory behind stitch types, underlay, density, and structure, the exact foundations that make raised effects possible. You can download it for free and start learning right away. It even includes a printable cheat sheet to guide you through the process. And if you're already an Embroidery Legacy software owner, I've got something special just for you. This full lesson, along with the native JDX file, is available inside our private school community just for our EL software members. You can open the exact file I created, study the settings, and practice the techniques step by step. If you want hands-on learning with real working files, be sure to log in and access it inside the community. Now, I've loaded in my native file format, which has the artwork already embedded into it at the size that I want to digitize, and I did a bunch of lines that you can see there in the red. These are actually artwork lines that were created with the tool within the EL Digitizer itself, and this is a little bit of the guidelines or planning that we're going to use for this design. When you're digitizing any design, if you plan it properly and give yourself a game plan before you start, it's going to make you more efficient and more effective during the process. So I'm going to be showing you why and how I'm doing every single stitch type and the properties that we're going to choose for them along the way. Now with this, the only thing that I'll want to do is select the artwork, and when I select the backdrop, I can actually see that within the properties, there's a wireframe. I can turn down the opacity of this and dim it out so that we can see it a little bit more dimmed as we're actually digitizing this. That way you'll be able to see what I'm doing, but the actual artwork lines stay nice and bright, which is awesome. That's what I want as well. So now that that is in place, I just click off of it. I'm going to keep the sequence view and the properties up just so you can see the progress of this as we move forward. And I'm going to start to utilize some of my tools. Now, before I start, this is a design where I'm going to be controlling everything within the design, the pathing of the design, the sequence of the objects, the properties, where objects start and where they stop. Everything is going to be done specifically for a reason. And for that, I'm going to choose to turn off some of the automation that we have built into our program, like snap to anchors. I'm going to make sure that that is off. I'm going to go into my smart join, which is normally checked on. I'm going to turn smart join off so that the software allows me to control where my starts and my stops are, and it won't automatically join connecting objects together, which is normally a really good thing because it makes me faster and I don't have to think as much. But in this situation, I want to do all the thinking. So I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to go into my settings, because within my settings, we do have in our behaviors something set up so that while I'm digitizing a satin path, it automatically splits or splices my stitches anytime I go over 7 millimeters. Normally, that's a really good thing, and I want to have that feature on because I don't want snagging in my embroidery. But we want control of this, so I'm going to turn it off so that I don't have to go and turn it off for each object afterwards. So there's a little bit of foundational setup here. Now, we are going to be using a piece of 3D foam, 3 millimeter foam within this design, but not in the traditional way. I'm going to have it underneath of the stitches that we're going to see. So we are going to use foam and tear it off. So a lot of my settings are going to be specifically engineered for foam and even holding down the foam. So if I go to my run stitch and I look at my stitch length, normally my stitch length for traveling is 2.5. I'm going to change that to 4.5 millimeters. And the first stitch I'm going to do, and I'll just change this to green so you can see it, I'm going to go right from here over to here and up over to here, hit enter, and there's my first stitch, and you can see it ties in. There's a tie out here. That's where it ends, where that little black dot is. But this is a longer stitch because I want this to hold that foam in place. And where I start and where I finish were also done on purpose because I'm now going to do this object first, this one second, this one third, this one last from here down to here, and the very last object that I finished is going to be held down by a stitch that I did at the very beginning. So everything is happening for a reason. Now that the foam is held in place, I'm going to go to a steel, which is a fixed width satin. I'm going to look at the settings. I'm going to change it to 2 millimeters. So now I have a 2 millimeter width on the actual steel, I'm going to change this to 0.2 millimeters density because I want more density. I want to cut the foam, and then I'm going to go to my actual underlay, and I'm going to tell it that I don't want any contour underlay. I just want to control it myself. So now that this is set up, and you can see that on my widget, I have a custom setting on there, so I know I'm off the defaults. Now I'm just going to come right here and over to about here and hit enter. And you can see now I have a nice, thick stitch as far as my width is 2 millimeters. I have a 0.2 millimeter density, and now it finished here. I want to travel down to here, so I'm going to go back to a run stitch, and I'm just going to go right to here and come right down the center to here and hit enter. And you can see that in the sequence view, my scissors have moved down to the bottom. So there is a trim right here at the end, which you can see with little scissors. Now I'm going to go back to my steel, and I'm going to do the same thing right from here, and I'll come right up to about here, and I'll hit enter. And now I have that object done. Let's go back to a run stitch. I'll come right over here to this piece, hit enter, go back to a steel, and come here, do this piece right to about here, hit enter, and now I'll go back to a run, and then I'll go up here, finish it off right to here, hit enter, go back to a steel, and I'll do this point from here to here, down to here, and I'll finish this off. And if I do see any gapping, which I do right here, then I can always come into my design. Let's just go off of 3D. I'm going to select that object, hit the Q key on my keyboard for editing, and I can just move this one so it's going to go underneath of that object a little bit more. And then let's just finish it over here. Let's go to this one as well. Go to Q. I'm just going to move the stop point, move this so it's underneath of that one a little bit, go right down to the end, and now I can see that I have all of my areas covered now, and everything is perfect. Now, there's one small issue with this if you've ever done 3D foam, and that is these open ends on all 5 points are going to snag because you need to cut the foam, and you can either cap it, you can pinch it, you can do different effects, come into a sharp angle on it, and I want to make sure that I edit all of these objects. Now, in most programs, the issue would be I would have to probably use a classic satin stitch and go in and cap all these ends and digitize them as I went along. That seems like a little bit of a waste of time. We actually have within our software on the steel, which is a fixed width satin, you can say, I want to go to the start of this cap and I want to do a sharp point. Boom, it's done. Then I can go to the next object. I want a sharp point. Boom, it's done. I want to go to the next object. I want another sharp point. And then I'm going to go to the last object and I want a sharp point where it starts and a sharp point where it ends. And I now have sharp points that are going to pinch the ends of the foam. It's going to now stop the machine. I can tear it away and I'm ready to go to the next color. So when we begin our next color, I'm just going to choose a lilac color. We can run this in whatever color we want, but I'm going to take this and I'm going to use a run, and I'm going to make sure that I'm still set at 4.5 millimeters, and I'm going to start the design right here, and I'm going to put a point right here, over to here, and right down into the end. I want to make sure that I never cross over that piece of foam that I've already created. I don't want to start hammering it down or distorting the shape of the foam. So I'm going to be very careful about how I put these down. Then I'm going to go to my satin stitch. This is not a steel, which is a fixed width. This is not a classic satin, which is a point counterpoint. This is a specially designed satin that allows us to draw the shape, put the start and stop point in, put the inclination points in exactly where we want them. And again, remember, all of my smart join features and all my automation is turned off. But I do want to come in here now and change the actual density to 0.2 millimeters. So it's the same as the other one. I want to make sure that I have lots of density on this satin, more than normal, because I want it to cover the foam and raise. I don't want to have any gapping, which also means I want to control the start and stop positions. I don't want to have it come one way, then go back to another and have the actual stitches split apart. So I want to keep a nice flow of stitches. Then I'm going to come here and I'm going to actually turn on a zigzag stitch. So I'm going to have a zigzag stitch on, and I know that with the auto split, I already turned that automated feature off. So it should give me a nice long stitch without actually creating splice stitches in between. So now that I have that one in place, I'm just going to come right here to the point. I'm going to just pinch the end of that right to there, come right to this point, and I'm going to overextend it a little bit for a little bit of, underlap, overlap, so to speak. I'm going to come right out to this point here. I'm going to come over to this side here, come over to this side here, make sure that I continue to extend that, come right back here and pinch that end, and then I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to do a inclination, that's a stitch direction, another one, and then I'm going to hit enter, start and stop over here, and it gives me a nice long stitch. Now, the only thing that I don't like on that is if I go and I select that object, I can see that my stitch direction is off a little bit, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go to my inclination points. I'm going to make sure that my inclination points are nice and straight along the edges, sort of like that, and that gives me a nice straight inclination all the way across. So now that that is in place, I can just come here and I can go to the next object, which is going to be a run stitch, and I'm going to hit my run, and I'm going to make sure that I go right from here over to here and down into the center, hit enter. And again, if I look at my sequence, I have no trims, or all traveling stitches from the beginning right to the end. Then I'm going to go back to my satin. I'm going to put a point here to pinch it, but let's turn off the 3D first. Put a point right here to pinch that end. Then I'm going to come right to here, go on the line. Here I'm going to go over and extend it because this is going to kind of underlap the next object that's going down. Come right to here. Let's pinch that side right down. Hit enter, inclination, inclination all the way across. Hit enter, and let's move the stop point right over to here. Enter, and that gives me that object. Then go back to a run. I'm going to do the same thing. Come right to here. Make sure I'm not, running stitches over top of that piece of foam. I can then go back to my satin stitch. I'm going to go right here and pinch this end. Just make sure that this one's on the line. Again, coming over here, exaggerating past the line ever so slightly. Then here I'm going to come straight up, make sure it is, exaggerating on the one side. Inclination, inclination, make sure they're nice and straight. Start and stop. And then I'm going to go back to a run, come over here, go to this side, back into here, and now I'm going to come in, and if I see here, there's actually two pairs of scissors, so this is where I do want to come in, and I want to say, let's see where that stop is. That stop is fine, so let's go to this one. I'm going to actually move this start over ever so slightly and make sure that I get rid of those inclination points. So there, we're going to go right from here, and let's go here over to this one, and then this one right here. Now I can see that there is no trim. I want to make sure that there's no trims in this. So now I'm going to go to my next object, which is going to be this one. I'm going to come right to here, over to here, to this one right to here, this one to here, and I'm going to then go over to the other side, go right over to here. I'm pinching that end again, inclination point, start and stop, and then enter, and then I'm going to go back to a run stitch, go right to this point here, over to here, right down to here, and again, there is no unnecessary trims, always making sure that I don't see any unnecessary scissors pop up, and I'm just going to come right to here, straight across to this point, to this point, to this point, all the way, and pinch that end right up to there, hit the enter, do my stitch directions or my inclinations, enter and enter. And now I can see that that is done. And if I look at this, I have my 3D on, and you can see that green in the center. I don't really have to worry about that because that green is going to be the same color embroidery thread, which is the foam underneath. I did not want to come in tight to the inside here because that would have created a stitch intensive, what we like to call bulletproof effect, and your machine would have been, struggling to get through all of those layers. So this is nice and friendly. It is 2,400 stitches, and when we run this sample, you are going to be amazed at the result. So if we look at this now and we do it in a redraw, you're going to see that this design starts here, it does all of this, pinches the ends, continues to go through all of these objects, pinching the ends as it goes across, and then it does the next one, That zigzag is a double zigzag going back and forth. That is going to hold that foam kind of in place. I don't have to worry about it moving. There's absolutely no stitches that stitch down over top of the foam that's already made. Everything should come out nice and clean. So we will just take this design, we will run it, and we will show you the finished results. Now you know the mystery behind creating this dramatic raised dimensional effect inside a regular satin stitch. Now it's not about tricks, it's about understanding how to build structure into your designs. So try this technique in your next project and see the impact it has for yourself. Remember, when you control dimension, you control the wow factor. So thanks for watching and be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next lesson.